All right. Hello, hi, howdy. I'm Kylie, and before I get started, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be switching back and forth between reenacting an actual lesson and then talking to you about Bloom's taxonomy, what theories and strategies I'm using to help my students learn better. So right now, before I actually get into the lesson, I want to go over a couple things. So this lesson plan is for fourth graders. They'll be learning about opinion writing, opinion or argumentative papers. So the lesson objectives are students will be able to identify the claim, reasonings, and evidence of a mentor text, as well be able to identify the claim, reasonings, and evidence of their own writing, and then just being able to write a claim, evidence, and reasoning, claim, reasoning, and evidence. All right. So before this, though, they do know the definition of claim, reasoning, and evidence. The last thing to be noted is that mentor text is being used for this lesson, and that will be linked underneath this video, so you should be able to follow along with that if you want to follow along and kind of do this lesson with me. All right, let's get started. Hello, my wonderful writers. Today we will be learning how to make an effective opinion paper by making sure we use claims, reasoning, and evidence. All right, so since last week we learned about claims, reasoning, and evidence, we're now ready to put them all together into our own writing. So at your desk, I have passed out a mentor text. It's called The Energy Drink Craze by Terry Crawford. I want you to go through the article again and identify the author's main claim by highlighting the text in pink, the reasonings in orange, and the evidence in yellow. All right, so right here I am trying to use the remembering level of Bloom's taxonomy. I think this is really important because if they can remember these concepts that they already learned, it'll be easier to build on top of that. And so right now the students would be able to do this on their own individually. So this also gives me, as the teacher, a good insight of what the students remember and what they might need extra help on. So with them highlighting at the end of the lesson, I'll have them turn that in just so I can see what they might need more help with. Yeah, so they'll have time to do that. Let's get back into it. Great. So it looks like most of you are done with your highlighting. So now please turn to your shoulder partner and explain why you decided to highlight the claim, reasonings, and evidence that you did in those colors. All right, so now students have the time to talk to their shoulder partners. And this is really good because not only does it show that they have an understanding, which is one of the Bloom's taxonomy levels, because they're explaining it, which helps them solidify that information in their head better, but also it helps another person, if they're not understanding it as well, kind of get that clarification. I always think talking to somebody helps me understand content better. And also it's nice to talk it through. So I always want to kind of incorporate that into my lessons every time I teach. All right, I've been hearing some really great conversations, so let's come together as a class and talk about your findings. What did you highlight for the claim? What did you highlight for the reasonings? And what did you highlight for the evidence? All right, I feel so silly putting it on and off. But so at this point, we would have a class discussion. And I think this is this is probably one of the most crucial parts of the whole lesson, because we're still in understanding. They're still explaining their reasoning for doing what they did, but also one of the most important things to me as a teacher is making things culturally relevant to them. And I know that at this age, 4th grade, they might be starting middle school soon. I remember a lot of energy drinks started to like come into the people in my classroom around like 5th grade. So I'm trying to be proactive and help them understand why these drinks are dangerous, in my opinion. So as a class discussion, we should be able to come up. Oh wow, I just realized that this was not mirrored, so you guys won't be able to see this, but I'll read through it. Okay, so claim. We should have come up as a class to figure out that energy drinks are proving to be dangerous drinks for all individuals, but especially teens. That is what Terry Crawford stated in their paper. All right, then we should be able to see that reason number 1 from Terry Crawford was it contains harmful ingredients. The evidence that would be talked about would be that the comparison of coffee / pop caffeine to energy drink caffeine, and how big of a difference that is and how that can harm you. As well, sugar is a very dangerous ingredient according to Terry Crawford, and that leads to obesity and teeth decay. So reason number 2, harmful side effects. So upset stomach, etc., nervousness, anxious, emergency visits go up 50% because of energy drinks. And then there's also a higher chance of heart attacks, type 2 diabetes. So basically, this is my chance as a teacher to not only understand the content of claim, evidence, reasoning, but also to help them understand these things that we have control over, of what we're putting into our body, just being healthy and making sure that we don't have to worry as much about heart attacks, type 2 diabetes, if we're actually taking care of our body and nourishing it. So that's my hope for that discussion. All right. Now that you have seen an example of how this author has used and structured their claim, reasonings, and evidence, it is now time for you to apply this highlighting activity to your own opinion piece that you wrote yesterday. So take a minute and read your opinion paper with your shoulder partner and help each other figure out and highlight your claims, reasoning, and evidence. Break it down by first finding the main claim, then all of your reasonings, and then the evidence that support your reasoning. All right, so I would allow time for this for them to talk with their partner and figure these things out. So this part of the Bloom taxonomy for this part of the lesson is apply and analyzing. So they're applying what they just learned with the highlighting activity about claims, evidence, and reasoning, and doing it to their own work. I think this develops a better understanding of what we just talked about, and then also having that person to confer with and just make sure that we're all on the same level of understanding. And then analyze it. They do this by breaking it down. They're really processing what is their claim, what is their reasoning, and what is their evidence. So now that you are done highlighting your own work, it's time to critique your own work by asking yourself the following questions. Do you have a claim? Do you at least have 3 reasonings? Do you at least have 1 piece of evidence for each reasoning? Could you add more evidence? Remember, evidence includes personal examples, statistics, or quotes from credible sources or people of authority. So right here, I give students time to really think about their work, really reflect on what they wrote about, and if they do have strong claims, reasonings, and then evidence to support that reasoning. So, for example, like, do they have a clear claim? Okay, that's what we would talk about there. I would probably meet one-on-one with these students, like go around during this time and meet with them and just kind of look over what they have, and then making sure that I compare this mentor text back to their writing to explain anything that they might be missing. And then just making sure for reasoning that they have multiple pieces of evidence that support that reasoning. We have to make sure that students aren't just using their whole opinion to do this. They need to make sure that they're both, if they use a narrative, it also needs to be backed up by some other type of evidence. The more evidence you have, the better argument that you can make. All right, now that we've had several minutes to reflect and think about our claims, our reasoning, if we have enough evidence to support those reasonings, you may need to adjust what you write about and how you write about it, or you may decide that you need to go back in and find more evidence or find a different reason to support your claim. All right, so now we are going to make a plan by writing down 3 things on the back of your mentor text sheet that you are going to work on to make your opinion piece stronger the next time you have independent writing time. Like I said earlier, this may be, maybe you've decided that your claim is not what you believe anymore, and maybe you want to change the whole thing. Maybe your reasonings is more based on just your opinion and not any evidence to go with that. Maybe you just need to find more evidence that to make your argument stronger. It can be a lot of different things. So take the time and let's generate a plan. All right, when you are done, please turn it in to me with your name at the top and independent read until everyone is finished. I am so proud of you all for your commitment to working on this, and yeah, let's get to work. All right, so right there, this is when we are in the evaluate and create and the closing of the whole lesson. But evaluate and create, those are also very, I think, crucial parts of learning. I mean, I think reflecting on what you're doing well and what you may need work on is really important in anything you do, just regular life as well. And I don't think that should be any different in learning. So by having them reflect on what could they do better next time, or not do better, but expand on the next time that they have a chance to make their argument better. And then have a time to create that plan by making a plan. That's what I said in my lesson. They are more held to actually doing it. I think that's really important, is helping your students feel accountable for their work. So overall, after that, I just told them to turn it into me when they're done. And like I said earlier, that gives me the opportunity to see maybe what they struggled with, if they need extra support in this claim, reasoning, and evidence lesson. That way I could give them that one-on-one attention that they might need. As well, if there's something that the whole class just didn't get, if it just went over their head, and maybe I need to find a different lesson to reinforce this learning, which is totally reasonable. And I think as a teacher, you just have to be able to adapt to all of these different things. And then at the end of the very lesson, I just wanted my students to know that I'm proud of them for the work that they're doing. Because let's be honest, everybody likes that encouragement and needs it. And that's something that's really important to me as a teacher, is making sure that my students feel loved and that I am rooting for them every step of the way. So that is all for my Bloom's taxonomy. A little overview. I used remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, and evaluating, and creating. So I used I think I used actually all of them, almost all of them maybe. And I think by using all of these, you get a really solid lesson plan. So I will be using this in the future, and that is all. Have a great day.